Okay, full moon coming right up is in the nakshatra, the lunar mansion, that's called Pushya, Pushyami. This is the center of Cancer, so the moon is very happy here. In fact, when the moon is in Pushya Nakshatra, it's considered by many the most favorable placement for the moon to be. When people are born with their moon in Pushya Nakshatra, it's considered to be a very favorable placement. And what does that mean? Is the moon is all about our sense of inner peace, our sense of feeling safe in the world, feeling safe in our own lives, feeling comfortable, feeling peaceful. Or lack thereof. It also has to do with our mother and how well do we feel nourished in our life, how well do we feel loved or not loved. So the moon is so important. But for all of us, when the moon is traveling through Pushya Nakshatra, you can tune into its energy. And in the case of, like, say, a full moon, in this case happening in Pushya Nakshatra, you can absolutely use its energy. And Pushya is an important nakshatra for the moon because it has the Shakti, or the power of generating spiritual energy. This nakshatra, this lunar mansion, is ruled by Brihaspati, the guru of all the gods, who is actually Jupiter. Brihaspati is said to have written part of the Rig Veda, but was made into the planet Jupiter by Lord Shiva, is the mythology. And so Brihaspati is the planet Jupiter, who is guru, who is the kind of keeper of wisdom, the giver of prosperity, the giver of spiritual knowledge. And so when you work with this full moon, or when you work with this nakshatra in general, you're very much working with things that are of a spiritual nature, is of a sattvic nature. It's very, very sattvic. Its symbol is a cow's udder, motherly, nourishing, sweet, subtle, sensitive, intuitive. And when the moon is in this placement, it's watery. The moon feels at home. And therefore, that provides us the circumstances to work with its Shakti, to generate spiritual energy in our own lives. And how do we do that? Because all of our lives, sometimes we feel like, well, there's part of my life that is spiritual and part of our life that is non-spiritual. Well, we know very much that we're generating spiritual energy in our lives when that type of dichotomy, or that type of bifurcation, or that type of duality starts to dissipate in our life, where it's really no longer clear what is my spiritual life and what is my non-spiritual life. In fact, the whole thing is spiritual. What in our life is not spiritual? The entire fact of existence, the mystery of existence, is exactly that. It's mysterious. It's deeply spiritual. And tuning into this energy and working with the Pushya moon gives us really the perfect kind of environment to get inside of what is the real wisdom of what that is all about. When we are connected to the innate wisdom that we have, our life all of a sudden, it gets filled with meaning, it gets filled with purposefulness. And when our lives have a sense of purposefulness, you don't have to struggle with prosperity anymore. When we're connected into the real purposefulness of our life, then the flow of prosperity starts to begin. And that's what Jupiter is all about. One of my astrology mentors, Drupada, John MacDonald, he often will say, in a simple way, when teaching people who are not familiar with astrological principles, he said, if you think of a combination of like Lord Buddha and Santa Claus, and then you have a good idea of what Jupiter's energy is all about. It's wisdom. He's the giver of wisdom. He keeps things all in their kind of right order. And sometimes we feel like things are not in their right order. We do not feel a sense of wisdom in our life. We feel despair. We feel confused. We feel depressed, or we feel anxious. And in those cases, when you start to evoke, bring up the Jupiter energy in one's life, then those things that used to be confusing start to make sense, start to fall in place. Not always are we able to describe it, but even the most difficult things in life, somehow there's still inside of that, there's some grace, there's some meaning, there's something going on deeper that doesn't take away its suffering. necessarily, but it does tune us into some sort of like a sublime richness that is inside of even the most difficult situations of our life. And we need that. That's real grace. So in this full moon, let's work with this together. It's always a great opportunity to pay attention to the moon's cycle. When the moon is coming new to when the moon hits its crescendo, if you pay attention to those 2 points of the month and you put some sort of practice around it or some sort of ritual around it, it puts our life in a rhythm. And that's what we like to do at Life Force Academy, and that's what we will be doing for this full moon. There's a very special webcast that is happening. You can attend. It's free, and it's a Kundalini Yoga experience. And this is getting deep into the art of Kundalini Yoga. Not just the science, but also the art of it. Because Kundalini Yoga practices are phenomenal for taking the anxiety off the body and the nervous system, for bringing up the inner vitality, the deeper vitality that makes the mind relaxed and calm and brings us into our clarity. And then the things in life that didn't make sense start to make sense again. The kind of doubts and insecurities that we have about ourselves and our life and that person and this person and what about this and my money and my love and etc., etc. All of that kind of loses its electricity, all the doubting energy. And when that doubting energy loses its electricity, there's something else that comes up, and that gives you confidence. That inner connectivity, that inner sense of knowingness of what you're all about. And that's what Kundalini Yoga is so excellent for. And that's what we're going to be doing. Talk about bring up the Jupiter energy. That's what we're going to be doing. And this full moon's a perfect time to do it. So we'll put the link here for you, and happy full moon to you. Pushya Nakshatra, it's a great one to tune into. It's a great one to build a relationship with. Every one of these nakshatras of all the lunar mansions, and every night the moon's in a different nakshatra in the sky. They all have a different energy. They all have a different Shakti. They all have a different symbol. They all have a different deity which rules over them. And when you tune into them on any given night, you can look and where is the moon? And you develop relationships, and it helps you tune into life and the great kind of beautiful intelligence of life. And so this full moon will be in Pushia. We're going to celebrate that. We're going to utilize that experience, and we're going to have a great, beautiful time to generate spiritual Shakti, spiritual energy. Can't wait to see you there.